My first trails experience.
First dirt jump or trail experience.
First trail or dirt experience.
My first dirt jumping or trails experience.
First dirt jump experience.
Rumble In Richmond.
First jump ever.
No one's ever gonna beat that, so.
Down the street from my house was these trails these older guys made. They were called Frost Heaves in New Hampshire. I was really intimidated, and the guys were ripping, and then they kind of took me under their wing, and I finally got like the confidence to hit them and like break my forks out on my Schwinn Predator, and like and then we built our own spot like right across the street. Ever since then, we just started building our own trails.
Getting towed into Kitty Pack at Sheep Hills by Sean Butler.
No one's ever gonna beat that, so.
I mean, geez.
My first dirt jump experience, I was actually a skateboarder, and it was Colin McKay at BP Trails in Ferny Grove.
That's pretty good.
Mine was, I followed Jason in at Ferny Grove and cased it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still happens to this day.
Good one, Deb.
Mine was at Mission Trails in San Diego. Some jumps nobody knows about, and I was with some friends nobody knows. So you guys beat me.
Still Butler, that's good.
I was scared, I was scared, and I
You guys
didn't
have
care.
a good answer.
I had like my little inch and 8 tires, and he was just like the only one. He's like, "You're easy."
I was down there
He
with my
doesn't- he would
skateboard on my
never
shoulder,
remember.
and it was just like Colin McKay, I think Gootler, and possibly Bowen, and a bunch of locals at the trails.
That's insane.
And I was like, I'm getting a bike.
You just.
Butler, Colin McKay, and then Jason Watts.
Yeah. Oh.
Damn.
Sorry, man.
I've still been toning him, and he's still been casing.
I'm spoiled because the OG, well, they're still going. The Little Devil Trails from like Criminal Mischief, they're like in my neighborhood where I grew up, still live, whatever. I used to go there when we were younger, and we weren't even really that good. And like at that time, it was like Little Devil era, so we definitely weren't fucking with them. But nowadays, that was like my first time seeing jumps, and there was like shitty little ones that you could fuck with. But then, like you know the Transworld cover where Van does like the whip, like one to the other, like that set of trails is like the first set of trails that I got to see. And then I didn't start jumping them until like 30 years old. When I started getting after it.
Mine's not nearly as impressive.
What is it?
Yeah, I got bragging rights on that one.
We just found this crater in the ground behind a Sam's Club, and we started jumping in and out, flying out of it. And it just, yeah. And then we started building landings and other lifts. Sam's Club jumps. That was how we started. Dirt jumps in the day, and then you ride street all night.
Because like Roadful or
Yeah.
Pops told you to do that?
Basically.
Yeah, same. We used to force ourselves to stay up late for no reason, just because we thought that was the time to ride street.
Yeah, like 4 a.m. like Nate Wessel and shit.
Oh, this makes sense.
Funny.
We had trails in a buddy's backyard, and we didn't know what we were doing, so we'd build these big lifts, and then
The only time I've ever
you'd have like a little bit of like a dirt pile. Mine logged out. We didn't know, so we were just like launch these like flats. Don't sign any kills, send them attacks. Eventually, we started building landings the same size as our landings.
Did you have multiple ones with
Yeah.
no
Oh
landings?
yeah. It would be like
That's
multiple in a row. We're just like,
That's sick.
Like excitement.
I would have seen like some King of Dirt events back in the day at some of the ABA races. So I would have seen like Chris Doyle out there. I remember Matt Behringer doing like a front flip one of the first times. It was out in this dirty rodeo arena. And then I grew up riding trails with Dennis. He used to race on our team with us, so we always had trails at his house. But probably first contest was watching the King of Dirt.
First real trails, State College, Pennsylvania. There used to be these super cool jumps just like in this little patch of woods out back of a like supermarket, and I just kind of heard about them, and someone just like walked me in through there, and that was like the first real set of jumps I rode, even before my own like hometown local trails. Kind of crazy. They're not there anymore, obviously, but yeah, super cool.
There used to be this bike park called England Odd Wild, about 20 minutes outside of me. It wasn't really trails, it was more like a community type of bike park, but there's jumps and stuff, and they held like jams and stuff, so we rode there a lot when I was younger, and then it just came to an end. People just didn't start working on them again, so it's just like an RC car track now or some crazy whack stuff like that, but that was like my first ever jump trail experience.
First dirt jump or trail experience was at my local track in Klamath Falls, Oregon. I think I was, oh, there's Dan. I think I was
I was probably like 12 years old. We had like, my dad ran the racetrack, so we had the track, and then we had this like pile of dirt that was used for the track off to the side, and we made a trail down the pile of dirt, and then we had like a 6-pack, and that was like my first experience with like trails. It was pretty fun. Like, got to build them all, and yeah, they were probably like this tall, but they felt huge.
We would go to the BMX track, but it was an hour away, so my parents let us build some jumps in the side yard of our house. But back then we didn't know what trails were, so it was called a practice track. The first road trip we took was to a place called the Pines in Rochester, New York, and those were actual trails. And then the second place we ever went to was the first Posh in 1992. What'd I tell you? So we went to the first Posh in like 1992, and around 1991 we went to the Pines in Rochester, New York. So that was our first trails experience.
That's pretty cool.
Before then, it was just called dirt jumps or practice tracks, as far as we knew.
My first trail or dirt experience was in Brazil, at Caracas Trails. For me, it's the most fun I ever rode, and big jumps, and all my friends rode there, so it's a really good atmosphere there.
The welcome jam, I think it was 2000. I think at the Petosny's parents' house.
We had a retention ditch that was near my house. We built a little rut, a kicker, literally with our foot, kicked the lip into it, and we jumped a 44-ounce 7-Eleven cup. And that was it. So stoked.
Building little lips in my backyard, basically jumping off dirt mounds.
First trail experience was when I was 15. There was this place called Darndon Trails in Hamilton, which is where I'm from, and I think that was my peak. I jumped a gap, and then after that I just mellowed out since. But yeah, that was my first trail experience, and ever since then, I don't know, dirt has a pretty special, I don't know, feeling when you're with people. There's a good vibe, and it's like your homies there, and a place like Radshire doing this is like pretty special too.
I think mine was actually when we lived in Fredericksburg. We came to Richmond, and they had Dogwood Dell trails, which Evan Vendetti at the point built those, and I remember trying to jump them and nose casing first shot and getting fricked up, and I was like, dang. So definitely here in Richmond, even though we didn't live here.
I was gonna say mine would be the trails that you and Grant had next to the food line. Our mom had a little food line next to our neighborhood, and it had a little set of trails in those woods. So that was probably my first.
I stand corrected because I forgot about those.
Yeah, those were fun.
Those were our like first ones, but then we came here and ran into like professional ones. You know what I mean?
There were some woods near my house with a couple little bumps. It was like deer trails, but the best part was there was a parking lot and then a steep downhill to flat, and you could dive bomb down the dirt hill to get into the trails in the woods. And God, I must have been about 10, and I cleared the whole thing, like down to the flat bottom. And my friend Danny said, "Oh, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Do it again." So like a stupid little kid, you do it again. Haul ass across the parking lot, jumped. I landed flat, but I was too steep. I fell over backwards. Next thing I knew, I woke up about 5 minutes later, and Danny was in the tall grass crying because he thought I was dead. So my first real dirt riding was also the first time I knocked myself out.